this particular list reflects, the change element of the new administration. On the other hand, we see, some of the same people that there were a couple of people from 2007, a couple of lobbyists that were on before. We also have bloggers on the list, and for that matter, your organization, Politico, which had not been there before, and which had not been the significant influence in 2007 that it became a year later. So, but I think that it's kind of the more that things change, the more they stay the same. I think that 2009 reflects a lot of commonalities with 2007, and 2011 will be the same thing. A lot of faces from the administration. I think maybe a dozen of them in all are very close to it. But in the past, in 2007, we had a number of faces from the Bush administration. I believe we only have one from the Bush administration this time, that being Dick Cheney. That's right. That's right. No list would be complete without that man.
So obviously this year's got some new characters, a lot of whom are focused on healthcare, like Olympia Snowe, Max Baucus. Is that an accurate assessment of the new playing field here?
Well, I think that makes sense. I mean, Olympia Snowe clearly is the only Republican voting for healthcare reform right now makes the list. I mean, she's going to be courted by everyone. Again, I didn't study the list in detail, but I think that one makes a lot of sense.
Hillary fell from 8 to 18, even though she was then just a New York senator and now Secretary of State.
I think
how do you explain that? She'll survive. Where were you when you heard the news that you were going to be on the GQ Most Powerful list?
Well, I was sitting at my desk and somebody came in and said to me, "Look, you're going to be on the list, and there's an event here in a couple of weeks, and you're not supposed to know about it. It's supposed to be a surprise." So I was, and obviously it's like anything else. Lists are very important in Washington D.C. Some people really pay close attention. People back home aren't that focused on it.
You've obviously had a lot of honors in your life. Where does this rank with all of them?
Oh, it has to be right up there.
Is that right?
Yeah, of course.
So is it true that, because Rahm Emanuel placed #1, is that true? He's the most powerful man in D.C.?
Well, if you're not going to count the president...
Right, he's excluded for obvious reasons.
Then clearly the chief of staff, who serves as a gatekeeper and has an awful lot of input in this administration. Maybe not the chief of staff hasn't always been that important, maybe some other administrations, but in this one, he is obviously very important and right at the top.
Thank you so much. Where were you when you heard the news that you were one of DC's most powerful people?
I think I was down in Florida working on with a great group of volunteers. It was kind of exciting.
Were you?
We did not share that with them. We were advised to keep it to ourselves.
You've always had a lot of honors in your life. Where does this honor stack up with all of them?
Well, it's a nice thing. I mean, we're really pleased and everything. But next to my Lord and my Savior and my family and my children and my grandchildren, I don't think it competes well with that.
Do you agree that Rahm Emanuel, who placed #1 on this list, is truly the most powerful person in D.C.?
Well, if it had been most ruthless, I'd have been more easily in agreement with it.
Now, you've had a lot of great press as a freshman congressman, but you didn't make this list. Are you upset?
I'm not. I'm just honored to be here tonight, and I was honored to be in their publication this October, and been a subscriber for a number of years now to GQ, and it's just a fun event tonight.
Is it true that Rahm Emanuel is really the most powerful person in all of D.C.?
Well, that's debatable, of course.
Besides the president.
Well, I think Speaker Pelosi might take some issue with that.
Is that right? Because she ranked behind Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, but Speaker still runs the show in the House where I live, so I'd still give her the upper hand when it comes to the House. Now, granted, Washington D.C. is a much bigger playground than just the House, but
now it's interesting. There actually weren't a ton of Republicans on this year's list. What's up with that?
Well, look, we're 80 seats down in the House. We don't control the White House. We don't control the Senate. We don't control the House of Representatives. So, quite frankly, there shouldn't be a lot of Republicans on DC's most powerful because we're not that powerful right now. But I think better years are to come, and I think 2010 is going to be a good election year for us.
So maybe the next version of this magazine issue, Republicans will surge ahead?
Yeah, I think next year you're going to see a much different list.